Welcome to the Butterfly Effect. This is stage 11, Giro d'Italia, 205 kilometers, about 130 miles in length, and it's pancake flat. So when you went to bed last night, like me, I hope you prayed to the gods that some wind would materialize so we make today's stage exciting, because at 205 kilometers, that's a long day if we go back to a boring stage. And when I get up, sit on the couch, got my breakfast, flip on the TV screen, and there it is. You can hear it in the parking lot. Wind is a-blowing here on stage 11, so there's a little bit of hope that today's stage could be really exciting because, of course, yesterday's stage 10 was marvelous with Biniam Girmay winning the stage. But then, of course, on the podium ceremonies with the cork from the champagne bottle, it popped it in his eye, went to the hospital, and he's out of the Giro. So it was a big letdown with Biniam Girmay leaving the Giro. Remember, he was second on the points classification, was only 3 points behind Arnaud Démare after yesterday's marvelous stage 10 win. With him out, that's going to leave Démare looking fantastic and ahead of second place here on the points by many, many spots. So he's got a good shot at winning here at the Giro d'Italia, the points jersey. And today's going to be a flat stage, so Démare has a chance to add to his tally on the points competition and try to help wrap that up early here at the Giro d'Italia. But remember, it's a flat stage. Anything can happen in field sprints, and we can start seeing things change if it's really windy out there. Now, when the racing gets started, we're going to see two riders slip off the front. Super easy. It's going to be Taglioni and Rostella. Now, Taglioni's been in a lot of breaks here from Drone Harper, so we expected that. I was really hoping when the race started at kilometer 0, we would just start seeing attacks all over. Because of the wind out there, you just don't know how it's going to play out on a stage like today. Now, these two riders will go up the road and they'll get a maximum of about 5 minutes on the peloton behind. That's being led more or less by FDJ train back there. 110 kilometers. That's where you want to tune in if you were asleep all morning. You want to go back to about 110 kilometers because that's when things really start getting exciting. The wind starts to pick up. The peloton start getting nervous. And they're getting nervous because we're getting ready to go into a big city, Bologna in Italy. Now, when you get into these city streets, with all the twists and turns and with crosswinds, when they exit that city, that's when things are going to get really bad. So back there at about 100 kilometers to go, we're going to see Richie Porte go down. He's going to crash, get back up on his bike, and start getting to the back of the peloton. Back there, the peloton's getting nervous up front, though, and the speeds start picking up. We're going to see the back of the peloton broken up with guys off the back, and it's Caleb Ewan and Lotto Soudal. Lotto Soudal had 4 guys back there, and Richie Porte, Ineos, is locked in back there with the Lotto train trying to get back up to the front of the peloton. Now, up front, it's Quick-Step driving it hard, and Carapaz, Ineos, is locked in on the Quick-Step rider up front, drilling this, trying to keep the sprinter Caleb Ewan from getting back up to the peloton. Now, as they come into the next city, we're going to see some time bonus sprints. Ineos are on top of it. Remember on Blockhouse, they were a little bit sleeping. Richard Carapaz got 1 point, 1 time second on Blockhouse. But here, Ineos is not sleeping, and all the other GC contenders are, because Richard Carapaz grabs maximum time bonus of 3 seconds. Now the breakaway will get wrapped up with about 92 kilometers to go. They didn't really have any factor at all here on stage 11. With just under 60 kilometers to go, it's going to be Alpecin Phoenix Dries de Bondt that goes up the road. Now, I don't like this move at all. At this point in time, if you wanted to start attacking at kilometer 0 and just blow this whole race up, try to get a 20-man selection on a windy crosswind stage, tail crosswind stage like we're having here on stage 11. That makes sense. But at 58 kilometers to go, Dries de Bondt going solo, this is just putting nails in the legs. Remember when we look back at yesterday's stage 10, when you see Mathieu van der Poel, he was isolated at the top of that last climb with 8 kilometers to go. Dries de Bondt is one of the big helpers here for Mathieu van der Poel, and today is the last rest day, really, for Alpecin Phoenix, if you want to call it a rest day. But it's the most that you're going to get before the next 2 and 3 stages that are really ideal for breakaways to go all the way to the finish. And remember, yesterday was a big day for Alpecin Phoenix, and it was a rest day before that. So if you have the rest day, you have one hard day with stage 10, and now today is really the closest thing you're going to get to a rest day, followed by at least 2, if not 3, breakaway stages coming up. So this attack here from Dries de Bondt, I don't like at all because he can save his legs. So he decides to go anyways against my belief, and he's up the road, gets about 1 minute and 40 seconds as his top lead on the peloton behind. Now, nobody back there is actually chasing Dries de Bondt. They're just fighting for position. It's curb to curb. The wind is just enough to where it's making it nervous back there and causing the reaction of the peloton to have stress and fight to be at the front. Now, all the way till about 13 kilometers to go, they are curb to curb. And now we're going to see at 13 kilometers to go, it's FDJ up there with Arnaud Démare last on the train. And then it's Caleb Ewan, Lotto Soudal locked on to Arnaud Démare's wheel. In an earlier interview, Caleb Ewan talked about losing his lead-out man, Rudiger, and he talked about Cavendish losing his lead-out man, Marco Murkoff, on about stage 9 here at the Giro. Now, with that being said, remember, Lotto Soudal, Caleb Ewan doesn't have his lead-out man. Mark Cavendish missing Marco Murkoff. That's a big sign there. So Caleb Ewan has decided that the FDJ train, just like he said in his interview, was going to be the team to watch, and he's locked on with 13 kilometers to go. FDJ's up on the right side of the road. On the left is Ineos over there as we see the GC fight between the teams and the sprinters trying to stay at the front here. Now, with about 5 kilometers to go, the road will bend to the right, and now we get about a straight shot going into town. Dries de Bondt's at the front, and he's got about 20-30 second gap. We all know at this point in time it's not enough. It's basically the cat back there, the peloton playing with the mouse up front, Dries de Bondt, as he's trying to hold off the power of the peloton behind. It's not going to happen, but it's going to take some work back there because with 2.4 kilometers to go, we're going to see Quick Step with 4 riders. FDJ to the right have 5 though. 2.4 kilometers to go for Quick Step. That is a bad time to be on the front if you only have 4 riders. If we go back to other stages looking like the Tour de France and the Giro stages, normally these big sprint finishes, you start seeing Quick Step come to the finish with 4 riders at about 1.5 kilometers to go. So at 2.4, they're understaffed here. Remember, it's Marco Murkoff that left early here at the Giro. Now, with FDJ on the front, they're doing a marvelous job. They'll wrap up Dries de Bondt with about 1.2 kilometers to go, and FDJ train is in full flight. Just behind the FDJ train, we're going to see Caleb Ewan still locked on to Arnaud Démare's wheel. Then Israel Premier Tech and Fernando Gaviria is locked on to Caleb Ewan's wheel. So, to the right, it's Quick Step that's fighting there. They still have 3 guys on the front, but it's 700 meters to go. It's going to be Davide Ballerini, I imagine, pulling off to the right. This is going to leave Bert van Leerberg with a ton of work to do. 700 meters to go. When we look at the aerial view, he's still a few spots behind the first place FDJ train. And he has to start sprinting because at 350 meters, the road is going to start bending to the right. So Bert van Leerberg, full sprint from 700 meters to go. And on his left is FDJ in a full sprint. That is a ton of effort to ask for Bert van Leerberg to go from 700 meters all the way to about 250 meters to go. When I'm sitting on the couch doing the math, I just know it's just not possible for Mark Cavendish to get his lead-out man all the way to 250 meters to go. Bert van Leerberg's going big, and he is accelerating on the pedals in a drag race with FDJ train. Now, as they come up to 350 meters to go, just as the road starts to bend to the left, it's Bert van Leerberg that takes the lead here with Cavendish on his wheel. As they come into the left bend, Caleb Ewan will switch over to Mark Cavendish's wheel. Now, as they're coming through the bend, it's going to be Max Verkayse, UAE Team Emirates, coming around the outside of the Quick Step train. But remember, Bert van Leerberg started his sprint from 700 meters to go. They're going to exit this left bend with about 300 meters to go. Already with 400 meters on his legs, Bert van Leerberg's going to look back, and then Bert van Leerberg's going to try one more big acceleration to get over on the UAE Team Emirates wheel as they exit the left bend. With 250 meters to go, it's Arnaud Démare starting his sprint on the left. Fernando Gaviria's on his wheel. And then just behind them is going to be Cofidis rider Simone Consoni. But up front, Arnaud Démare has accelerated on the pedals. He started his sprint with 200 meters to go. He's got the front here at the peloton trying to win stage 11. With Fernando Gaviria locked onto his wheel, he's passing Cavendish. And Caleb Ewan is going to switch back from Mark Cavendish's wheel over to Arnaud Démare's wheel. Now, as we get further into the sprint, it's Fernando Gaviria coming up on the side of Arnaud Démare. Cavendish didn't have the legs today. Caleb Ewan is still in with a fight here with 200 meters to go. At 150 meters to go, it's Fernando Gaviria and Demar side by side. 100 meters to go, it's still the two riders side by side. And then we start seeing the DSM rider Alberto Danesi that's starting his acceleration. 50 meters to go, they're three across the road. Danesi from DSM to his right, Fernando Gaviria, and to the right of Fernando Gaviria is Arnold Demar, two-time stage winner here at the Giro d'Italia. With 50 meters to go, Arnold Demar's legs fall off and he drops back and drifts back to about 5th on the stage. Up front, Fernando Gaviria is going 100%. Alberto Danesi throws in one last acceleration and with a bike throw wins here at stage 11. Fernando Gaviria will finish 2nd on the stage. 3rd, Simone Consoni for Team Cofidis. Alberto Danesi, who saw this win coming? I didn't even list him before on Beyond the Coverage before the Giro started here as one of the sprinters to look out for. But he was amazing. Hidden the whole time. Nobody even saw it coming. I had to go back and watch the aerial view to see where he came from. And if you look back at 1 kilometer to go, just about 9, it's going to be Roman Bardet that's leading Alberto Danesi from way back in the peloton. Roman Bardet will drop him off with about 700 meters to go. And then Danesi just surfed wheels throughout the rest of the 600 meters. When he came around the left side of the bend, he was on the outside. He switched back to the left side of the road and then started his sprint at just about 100 meters before the line and won handsomely against Fernando Gaviria with a bike throw, if you can call it handsomely when you need a bike throw to win a stage. But Alberto Danesi praised Roman Bardet in his interview about helping him all the way to the finish to wrap up the win here at stage 11. Now, the other favorites, when we're looking at the sprinters, Cavendish and Caleb Ewan, 5th and 6th on today's stage. Caleb Ewan looked pretty decent, but you got to remember he was left 80 kilometers solo to finish yesterday's stage 10. That's a big, tall ask to do 80 kilometers on your own. He finished more than 30 minutes behind the peloton and then went 5th on today's stage without having any fresh legs. You got to ask yourself, how much of a knucklehead was Lotto Sudol on yesterday's stage to leave the #1 sprinter in the world isolated and riding 80 kilometers on his own to sprint here on today's stage finish and get 5th on the stage still. Mark Cavendish, yesterday, same thing, he dropped off, but they left teammates around the Takuna Quick-Step sprinter to finish in yesterday's stage at about 20, just under 20 minutes behind on yesterday's stage 10. He didn't have the legs. And you got to ask yourself with Quick-Step, how much would Marco Morkov had helped on today's stage if they had that one more amazing lead-out man? Now, Bert van Leerburg, he did a great job, and he dropped Mark Cavendish off with about 300 meters to go coming out of that last bend, if not 250, and it just didn't look like Mark had the same legs. But you have to remember, if Bert van Leerburg had gotten Marco Morkov into that 350 meters to go, Marco Morkov goes into that left bend, he's going to accelerate all the way to 200, if not 150 meters to go, and drop Mark Cavendish off in amazing position to win here at stage 11. But Cavendish is stuck here at the Giro without his #1 leadout man, while Marco Morkov is going to the Tour de France later. So, big drama here when you look at the finish of today's stage between the #1 and #2 sprinters here at the Giro. But, of course, Arnold Demar with FDJ was left in a fantastic position from his teammates, and he didn't have the legs either. So maybe it's just all hogwash here that I'm talking about. Anyways, Alberto Danesi with an amazing acceleration that'll open up the win tally for Italy here to get their first stage win of the Giro. Now, the jersey to my right is for the Portland Road World Championships. Friend of mine that I've been working with for probably 4 or 5 years, I think a couple years before COVID took place, has been trying to bring the Cycling Road World Championships to Portland, and he needs some signatures. So if you guys have some time, I'll post a link down below. Click on the link and see what you can do to help out to bring the Cycling Road World Championships back to the U.S. and get them over to Portland. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Tour of Italy is just looking fantastic throughout these first 11 stages. These next 2 or 3 stages should be incredibly interesting to see if the breakaway can make it and hold off the GC favorites to fight for stage wins here at the Giro d'Italia. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next edition real soon.